Good morning, friends. What a day is today? It's April 15th. It's a Friday. It's Good Friday. And a lot of people have been talking about the Moskva. It's the guided missile cruiser that the Russians lost in the Black Sea due to Neptune missiles that the Ukrainians launched at it. But we're going to get a little deeper into the story. We're going to give it some historical context. We're going to talk about not only what this means for this current conflict, but what it means for other conflicts. What does it mean for the United States of America in terms of our defensive strategy, in terms of our naval capacity, as well as what's going on with China and Taiwan? I'm going to try to cover all of this. It's gonna be a busy show, I'll tell you that. Oh, so this is the Moskva. Before and you can see the little Ukrainian. It's obviously a joke, everyone. You get the Ukrainian tractor towing the Moskva. It's a joke, but what isn't a joke is that it is sunk while being towed back to safe harbor. But what you may not know about the Moskva is that it may have been carrying a piece of the true cross, a treasured Christian relic. What is a piece of the true cross? Well, as the name suggests, it would be a piece of the cross that Christ was supposedly crucified on. Link to the full story in the description below. The Russian Orthodox Church announced in February 2020 that the relic had been delivered to the then commander of the Black Sea Fleet, Vice Admiral Igor Osipov, and was at the fleet's headquarters in readiness for delivery to the ship shortly, the state-run TASS news agency reported at the time. So back in 2020, this piece of the True Cross made its way to the Admiralty, and there's a good chance that it was on the Moskva. The relic in question is a fragment of wood, just millimeters big, which according to believers is a piece of the cross in which Christ was crucified. TASS said that fragment is embedded in a 19th century metal cross, which is itself kept in a reliquary. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Per the outlet, the Moskva had a chapel on board for sailors to pray in. Sergei Kaluta, that's how I'm pronouncing it, Archpriest of the Russian Orthodox Church of Sevastopol district, told TASS. He said the fragment was to be transferred at the request of the owner and anonymous collector. So what are the chances that I think that the Russians were probably able to get the relic off the ship, right? Because they had a fair amount of time after the two missiles hit. Of course, the Russians are denying the fact that the Moskva sank to the bottom of the Black Sea. They say it was due to bad weather, that there was an internal explosion due to human error, technical issues, and that's what. And of course, it was supposed to be bad weather too. But was there bad weather? Let's check what the Guardian said about bad weather in the well, I don't have the slide right here ready, but the Guardian reports, and the link to that story is in the description below, is that the supposed bad weather that the Russians were talking about wasn't bad. The weather was pretty fine. It was okay. There was no reason for that ship to sink because of bad weather, because of any kind of storm action in the Black Sea. And is there any coincidence? If it really was bad weather and human error, in the Moskva that made it sink, why would the Russian fleet be distancing it from the shore, from the Ukrainian shore? If it was just bad weather and human error as against to land-based missile systems, why would the fleet be going further out into the Black Sea? So look, there's been a lot of talk about what this means in the conflict. I want to talk about what it means historically. This is the first time a capital ship has been destroyed. A Russian capital ship, a major ship, has been destroyed since the Russo-Japanese War back in 1904 to 1905. That's a long time, everyone. This is the first major ship sunk in a conflict. This ship, the Moskva, had seen action in Georgia. It had seen action in Syria. Wherever the Russians want to bully someone and inflict death, the Moskva has been there. And did I mention it's at the bottom of the ocean right now? It's the bottom of the Black Sea. Oh, that's something to feel good about this morning. What else does it mean for the Russians? We know, I've heard the number, reliable number, that the Russians are spending about $20 billion on the war every single day. Well, guess what? Their economy, as many of you know, is the size of Italy. It is a small economy. Ships that size take a lot of money to replace. That ship was supposed to be in service until 2040. It's not going to be in service until 2040. I just want to also mention the fact that because of the chaos going on in the Black Sea, in terms of the conflict right now, the Turks, do we have a map? I think we have a map of, okay, I have a map of Kaliningrad, which we're going to talk about because of NATO enlargement. But I want to mention the fact that the Turks are considering, the Turks as in the people in Turkey, the government of Turkey, because they have control over the entrance to the Black Sea, they are considering prohibiting Russian naval forces entry into the Black Sea. Russian forces would be able to leave, but Russian naval forces would not be able to enter. But you know who would be able to enter? NATO ships. Because Turkey, despite its issues with the United States of America and with NATO, there's been friction between the Turks and us lately, but it looks like they may allow NATO ships to enter the Black Sea, but not Russian ships. So that's pretty beautiful too. There is a cascading series of effects going on. One of them, of course, being NATO enlargement. You may have heard lately that from this show that Finland and Sweden are on the fast track to NATO membership. And Vladimir Putin's been saying, hey, if you do that thing I don't want you to do, I'm just gonna put more nuclear weapons in the Baltic Sea, in the Baltic area. Here's a little map. Here's Kaliningrad. It used to be called Königsberg. It was a German city up until the end of World War II. It was given to the Russians at the Potsdam Conference in 1946, I believe the proper date is. And the Lithuanians, from what I've heard, the Lithuanians have chuckled and said, there's already nuclear weapons in Kaliningrad. The idea that the Russians are going to try to bully us with saying that there'll be more nuclear weapons in the Baltic Sea really doesn't mean anything, since they already have a large naval base in Kaliningrad. Just more desperate words out of the mouth of Vladimir Putin, everyone. Let's see. I want to see what's going on in the chat before we go to the last sad story, which is connected with yesterday's strange and sad story. Laughing, yes, Scott Duke. I do have Why Evolution is True behind me. I do have that kicking around here somewhere. That is correct. It's one of my favorite books. They will just make a new relic. Well, that's a possibility. And I am trying not to laugh, John Hudson. I am trying not to laugh because of it's very Keystone Cops what's going on with the Russian war effort. But it's important to note that just because they are doing exceptionally poorly now doesn't mean that they will continue to do exceptionally poorly. They are massing forces on the east of Ukraine. And even though those forces are not at 100%, they are not, they need to be refitted. They need to be reformed because they just got mauled in Kyiv. A Russian strategy that has been used time and time again is just throwing men into a meat grinder. because apparently not only do the Russians have a history of not caring about human life of the people that they're fighting, but they have a history of not really caring about the soldiers that are fighting for the Russian state too. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were just going to try to bum rush the Donbass region with whatever they can and to get as much as they can before May 9th. May 9th, of course, is Victory Day in Russia, which they celebrate their victory over Nazi Germany. Blazing Wizard Pope says that the Moskva has been reclassified as submersible. Yes, and is a special sport. Yes, and it's important. It's funny. It's ironic, maybe. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly. That the Moskva was part of the incident. I believe it was on Serpent Island. It was when the Ukrainian troops were told to surrender on a small island. There was more like maybe 11 or 12 of them. They told the Russians to go F themselves. The Moskva was the ship that they told to go F themselves. You know, what's interesting, and I saw that video, Dee Parks, and I want to say this too, is that the real takeaway out of this is about how small forces can overcome main forces. This is an important note. We've seen this with tanks. We've seen this now with a cruiser, that relatively small weapons can destroy super expensive weapons. We've seen javelin missiles, shoulder-based javelin missiles destroy very expensive tanks. We just saw two missiles destroy a very expensive cruiser. This is going to be in military strategy planners' minds for quite a long time. Right? It's going to be something that they think about, because the United States of America have these large ships, aircraft carriers. We have our own cruise missile, cruisers with guided missiles. And we have to be careful about losing them because of these relatively small and inexpensive weapons. It's something to be concerned about. And we can talk more about this in the after party, after show, because there's a lot of history about governments wasting money on military systems that don't work. They might have worked in the last war, but they don't work in the current war. Okay, everyone, sad story. This has to do with the woman that we talked about yesterday, Shandele Marie Riley, the woman who sued Tennessee sheriff for forcibly baptizing. She is dead. She was found dead in her home. And I'm sorry to end the show this way, but I found out about it yesterday. Hemet Meta tweeted about it. She is unfortunately dead. The lawsuit can continue against the former deputy who forcibly baptized her. If you want to know more about this story, check out the video from yesterday, to tell you the truth. That's probably your best source of information, if I do say so myself. All right. Thank you for watching. After party, after show, the link is in the description below if you want to join us. That starts in less than 2 minutes. How about that? I got to close things out. I'm going to drop a cat video. I'm going to throw down a thank you video. If you want to support the channel and if you're looking for internet security, there's a link to NordVPN down there. You get a deal. You get a bargain. All right, everyone. I'll see you at 9:15.
I'm Mr. White Christmas. I'm high on crack.